Okay, so recording beginning.
Oh, we are back. Welcome everyone. Welcome back to JD Stream slash JD Podcast on JD slash JD slash JD.
Right, get
What's
all
up?
the
How's it going?
there. Welcome back, everyone, and welcome back, Aidan. Thanks so much for rejoining us. But you're not the only guest. Always
Yes.
recurring. Always love to have you. We also have another special guest, Derron. What's going on? Who's behind you?
Hello, how's it going? I'm Cameron,
Hey.
Cameron Latrilla. Darren's special guest today, Darren
Yes.
brother from England.
Nice. Good to meet you.
Yes.
So,
Fresh.
okay.
Hey,
Oh, I hear.
come on.
But yeah, Joe, how have you been? How you doing?
Good, good.
Okay.
I'd say exhausted as usual, even though this is very new. But the job that I've had is the third week now, and I mean the weather's the weather, right? I mean whether the weather be weathered for work or not, you got to get out there. So it's
Yeah.
good and bad because it's fun to be in extreme weather, but it's also not fun. It's kind of like the gym. It hurts, but kind of exhilarating after the fact. So
True.
I've just kind of been experiencing it like at full capacity. Like there's no escape from it unless like it starts to downpour. Then I'm allowed going in my car, but otherwise, yeah.
Oh, okay. So what are some of like your daily tasks? Like, well,
Oh boy. Oh yeah, I could give you guys a whole lowdown. Okay, so
There she is.
go to the shop, then load up the truck with whatever we need. There's a split up of like divisions or departments. One's called landscaping, the other one's called maintenance. However, inside of landscaping, there's a secret unnamed kind of divide. Most of the women do planting and most of the men do masonry work. However, I do planting, and
yeah.
I was able to get like another guy on it too. So now we're trying to break the divide that exists. And
Remember
funnily
they were
enough,
giving
Stigma.
you- yeah,
yeah,
they were giving
exactly.
you-
Break that.
I
Yeah.
remember
And then guys joke about it too. They're like, "Hey, how do you like doing a woman's work?" I'm like, "Great, I love it. I mean, who are you kidding?" I would much rather be planting than putting down masonry. No offense to all the masonry lovers out there, but I didn't choose. I love and I didn't get to choose it. It was just by luck that I happened to be planted in that planting division. So yeah.
Oh, that's sick. Okay, good. And how are you managing with these extreme temperatures?
How is anybody? Am I right? It's
Very
I've yet to have a heat stroke, but I've definitely had heat exhaustion every day this week, including today. So it's been an ordeal. And really, the only plus side is like maybe it'll be good for my physique to be sweating as much as I am. I don't know.
Okay.
It's funny. On the hotter days, you never have to go to the bathroom because you literally sweat out all of the water that you drink. That's like a fun science fact for you guys. Yeah. Normally, I usually
Science.
go to the bathroom.
Dropping the
Yeah.
facts. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Speaking
So-
so speaking of these temperatures, right? My brother just came back from England.
Yeah. Oh my god.
And Aidan being in England too. Aidan says usually the summers in England are shit.
Wait, in what way?
Shit and short.
Shit
Right,
and short.
okay.
Cameron,
Yeah, it's not that warm. So.
what would you say coming back? Like, for instance, when I picked him up, he was in a really heavy coat. I was like, it's like
Just a light fleece, but yeah, I don't know. I haven't really been outside yet because I'm on quarantine. But the walk from the hotel to the car, it was quite warm. So definitely gonna have to get used to the new records,
yeah.
Greta Thunberg style.
That's wild. I mean, just goes to show how diverse the planet Earth is, right? The one thing that's kind of disappointing is how much heat we're getting because apparently the Pacific Northwest is where it's been hit the hardest. They've experienced something that's called a heat dome, where it's like the air gets trapped in some kind of air bubble that's like at the top of the atmosphere, and it just condenses all of the heat and keeps it inside. But it is so powerful that it has spread like across Canada to us, right? Like we're getting the brunt end of it, but
We're just gonna get cooked, yo.
right. I mean,
Yeah.
hopefully it's ending now. That's what they're saying is that the we're seeing a downward trend of the temperature, but still, it's harsh.
Yeah.
I can't believe, real like England, you have to wear a coat.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I can't.
Lots of rain,
that.
lots of rain. I feel like this year there was a lot of snow. Aidan, I think you left by, you said January?
Yeah, I missed the snow.
Yeah, so February, March, April was quite a bit of snow, a lot of like hail. But
Oh my gosh,
warmed up
that's
quite a bit.
It's complete reverse
Yeah.
world. That's so weird to think about.
Yeah, the summers in England are usually like one hot day a week, and then 3 days of rain, 2 days of cloud, maybe another sunny day again. Like it's so inconsistent throughout the week.
It seems cloudy always to me. Is that
Yeah, mostly
people make
cloudy.
jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always
So
raining in
true.
England. Yeah.
like I would always be FaceTime with Aidan, and I'm like, it's just always gloomy looking. It's never like a
Yeah,
nice.
gloomy, gray. Yeah.
It's like the one very true stereotype is like it's always gray.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's great there. It's like that place from Twilight.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's all the vampires. They can just live in England.
Yeah. Is
Stay
it?
there.
It's something like Wisconsin. Where is that place set in? Do you guys remember?
Oh, the actual thing? Oh,
Oh,
the heck if I.
Twilight? I don't know.
It's in a
Let's say Wisconsin. Yeah.
It's a place that rains a lot frequently, and it's very.
Like
Seattle.
Seattle.
Seattle. Yeah.
I'm just assuming, yeah, somewhere in that area.
The vampires say, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. It rains a lot and it has forests in Seattle, so why not?
Okay.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
Give them that. Yeah. Nice. But yeah, so aside from the weather, also Canada Day is coming up, and it is coming up at the same time as terribly these discoveries are also coming up at the old
Mhm.
residential schools, right? That's something that's like I had known about it before these discoveries had been happening, like before 2021, but the numbers are like way, you know, I guess I didn't have an expectation, but just hearing those numbers is super fucked up, right? Like they're closing in on over 1,000 unmarked graves. Like it's insane. And so, you know,
So they were just
Yeah.
telling me about this today. I'm like, no way. Like I was reading about it briefly, but I'm like, do you know? Okay, sometimes when you like read something and it just like in one ear out the other kind of thing, and you start really
yeah, you gloss over it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, wow, this is like really hitting me like now. So they're like saying it's canceled essentially. Like Canada Day's canceled.
Canada Day?
But it's
Yeah,
not-
but like the only arguing I would put against canceling Canada Day is that Canada is defined by the identity of its citizens, not so much the head of government. Well, it's the same as people who are in America who like hate the gun laws there, but like they're still an American kind of a thing, right?
Yeah.
It's like I you know, hate the Catholic Church for everything that it's done, and the fact that the government like allowed it to happen and like helped it and stuff. But I'm, you know, like I think Canada is its citizens, not its, yeah. And plus, the citizens aren't even great either. I mean, I'm sure there's tons of troubles and stuff, but the idea of what Canada can be as a, you know, very young multicultural country, I feel like Canada Day should be almost reappropriated to specifically shine a light on Indigenous culture at the very least, right? Like try to emphasize that on Canada Day. Yeah.
Great. Again, great stuff, Joe. For real, yeah, really. Every day, I feel like every day in 2021 is just a woke day for everyone because there's so much to learn everywhere and every time because it's like these things were not being brought up 10, 15, even 5 years ago. It's crazy.
Well, it's something I had no knowledge of, not being from here.
Right. Yeah.
Because we not only were we not taught anything about Canada growing up, but we were definitely never taught anything about Native people growing up. So
yeah, I've
this
heard
is completely new to me when I learned about it.
Yeah. And I know in like I'm sure in some Canadians, but I hear it mostly from Americans that say when they were growing up, they didn't even know that Native American people currently existed. They thought they were like a race that's been long gone, kind of a thing. Like, you know, the way that it's like
Unreal.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? It's insane. It's like, where do you think they went? Like, they were literally just genocided off the face of the earth. The scary thing is that's what our first prime minister, Sir John A. Macdonald, he tried to do that. He was doing the same thing American was doing, the Manifest Destiny, which is God gave us this divine land, but there's other people here. Well, we just gotta kill them all, right? That's, we gotta have to genocide them. So he literally waged a war and tried to kill all Native Americans. He failed, but he's like generally known as just the first prime minister of Canada. But recently, like, I don't know if it was last year or earlier, it might be like a 2018 thing or something. He was, I think, on the $10 bill, and it was changed. And unfortunately, I don't know to who, but a Native American woman, to try to basically like, fuck you, Johnny McDonald. Like, you're an actual psycho. Like, it's the same as Christopher Columbus. Like, that dude was a psycho and a monster. It's like, he shouldn't be rewarded for being a part of history.
Yeah,
like,
no,
the dude
definitely.
was trying to conquer and like was bad at his job too. So
Yeah. Crazy.
What you gonna do? I mean, history, right? It unfortunately dictates the future because we base most of our laws and policies off of the past. It's very slow to turn, but the turn will eventually come because there is no alternative history except for in Inglourious Bastards.
Okay.
It's the history is what it is. The facts are what they are. So
well, unless you're a Trump supporter, and then it's you are living in alternate history.
That's true. But
those
that's
facts.
That's a language game, right? They say alternative facts, or they'll just say my truth and stuff like that, and it's like, well, then that's not it. Like, you just don't know what that word means then because you're redefining it as something that it isn't. But either way, hey, fuck America, man. Canada Day. By the way, we're dropping this on Canada Day. We're recording this the day before, but it's upon us, right? Right now, it's the 30th. It's hot as hell. Getting a little cooler. Sun's going down. But
a little bit of
rain.
I
mean, I'm actually working on Canada Day. I don't get it off, but then I get Friday off. So
cool.
I'll just celebrate it my own way, I guess. Or Thursday night, I'll just go to sleep to the sound of fireworks. That was nice.
Yeah.
If anything, I feel bad for the people who
you can see them. I think you have a deck, don't you? That you can see them, or like.
Well, my living situation is it's a tiny house that's split into 3 parts. So whatever you call that, a triplex.
Triplex. Yeah.
We got the main floor, so me and my girlfriend kind of rule the whole house because we got a door that leads to the backyard and the front yard, and then the other 2 people they gotta take the side way around. So anytime anything's going on, we literally just go at the door and then we can see it. And across the street is a park.
Yeah.
And it's a park that's kind of like a valley. It like dips down. So during May 24, we kind of like sat out on our porch and we're just watching the fireworks. And then somebody screwed up. And since it was like below the dip, we couldn't see what anyone was doing. We just saw when the fireworks went up. You hear like a scramble, like, oh, and then you just see a poof, and just like a firework go off on the ground.
God.
I was like, oh my God, come on, people, get it together. So I'm expecting the exact same thing tomorrow night. Yeah.
Fireworks can be scary sometimes.
I'm not trying to lose any fingers or limbs.
Yeah. We just allow average people just to use fireworks. It's kind of weird, really.
Yeah. It's like, I'm sure there's an age restriction, but there kind of also isn't. Like, I'm sure a 9-year-old could buy fireworks.
Yeah. Well, people are always drinking around fireworks too. It's like
I know. Well,
we just allow them to go to parks and let them off.
Yeah. It seems very like it does not make sense at all. That was also a thing.
The ground is scary to me.
Yeah, I know. It's just so uncertain what happens.
Like when you put it in the ground, it's like, what if it just like?
Well, there's ones like Roman candles and let them off in your hand. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like Roman candles, hold those, and like those are just. I was using those at 10.
I would never touch those things. I'd be so scared it's gonna blow up in my hand.
Yeah. Me and my friends, we back when we were teenagers, we had Roman candle fights. You just go to a parking lot and just shoot at each other. You pretend like you're in the world of Hogwarts or something. Just going, we go outside, just shooting these balls of light.
True. Yeah. I remember you mentioning that.
It's extremely dangerous. I don't recommend it to anybody, but that is something I did when I was young.
Try this at home.
But yeah. But yeah.
Speaking of Harry Potter.
Oh yeah.
Cameron said that your favorite place was where?
Edinburgh, and they shot a lot of
Like it was just like Harry Potter land.
yeah, like there was a graveyard where J.K. Rowling would write in, and some of the names of the characters are on the tombstones, and you can do a tour through there. Pretty nice.
That is wild. I had no idea.
Yeah,
That's
I'm not
so-
really that big of a Harry Potter fan though. I'm
No.
gonna be dead probably by the end
Yeah,
of tonight.
I agree. I'm on the same page.
Yeah, you're not a fan, right?
No.
Yeah.
It's a big
I
like.
get-
No, no, I don't think you're offending me. I can't stand them. I think they're too overhyped and average at best.
Right, they're enjoyable. I think that's why it's become a worldwide phenomenon, is because they're just enjoyable across the board. Yeah.
I don't know.
I just find it bizarre that well, I guess Star Wars carried the same legacy before it was rebooted, but like the last Harry Potter film came out in 2013. If you don't include the Fantastic Beasts, like the actual last Harry Potter film,
Yeah.
it probably came out 10 years ago, and people are still buying merchandise, like living the hype, going to Universal Studios.
Sites. Harry Potter's always trending. It's always like trending.
Yeah,
How is it always?
nuts. Yeah, it's very popular with millennial women, which is interesting. Millennial
Right.
women,
I mean,
especially, it's very popular.
Got solid fashion, right? It's just like permanent fall. You got your scarf on, and
Mm.
you got your whatever that beer's called from their world, butterbeer or
Yeah.
something.
I have a friend that I used to work with. She's got I've got this nerd shelf. She has the equivalent, but it's all Harry Potter stuff. She's got
Oh my
all
God.
the wands. She's got the scarf. She's got her own fake letter of invitation to the school. She's
a
got a
muggle,
Quidditch thing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, she's a muggle. Yeah, yeah.
Filthy mug
Just
left.
get it
Get
off.
out of here.
That's true.
Nice.
So also,
yeah.
I wanted to mention another thing about speaking of like worlds and like dimensions and all this magic and things like that. We watched Annabelle yesterday. You were starring in it. You were starring in it only briefly though, front end, the beginning and the end. Other than that, the movie was absolutely horrible. Like it was horrible.
You know what? I think of all of those movies in that contained universe, I think that's the only one I haven't seen. I've seen Annabelle Origins and Annabelle Comes Home, and I've seen all the Conjurings, but I haven't seen the first one, just Annabelle. I haven't seen
So
it.
we watched. Which one did we watch?
I think it was Coming Home, wasn't it?
Yeah, we watched
The
2019.
most recent.
Oh,
the most
okay. Then
recent
that's the third
Annabelle.
one of the Annabelle trilogy. Okay, so I have seen that one. Yeah.
That one was like, and the girl in it looked like iCarly to me.
Yeah, straight up. Yeah. It was almost like a Disney movie. It was just a bunch of kids in a house that's haunted, and it's like R.L. Stein's Goosebumps, like just all these different creatures. There's like a
It
werewolf.
was like a
there's scary
Goosebumps
doll.
episode. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because there was
straight
no
up,
real
straight up.
danger. Just like
Yeah,
Goosebumps.
it was all just spooky creatures. Yeah, and jump scares. I mean, it was, I enjoyed
And
it for what it
there
was.
was definitely at least two Goosebumps episodes, two separate episodes, where it was like, now babysitter, don't go in the basement. And the babysitter's like, I won't go in the basement. And then the parents leave and the babysitter goes in the basement. Yeah, you're right. It's a Goosebumps episode.
Straight up.
Yes.
Premise, everything. They stole it all, god damn it. And they're basing it
Yes.
off true events. They go, this actually happened. This is part of the Conjuring universe.
That's what we kept saying when we were watching. Like, this actually happened. Like, no, there's no way any of this happens.
So this is what I wanted to mention because a couple podcasts ago we were talking about how we watched The Conjuring. Aidan and I had watched The Conjuring, but it was The Devil Made Me Do It. And
I've seen that now,
this
so we
actually
can talk about it.
like a real case. It's like crazy. This is like brought to a real case. They're trying to like present this as a real case. Like this guy murdered somebody. Like the devil made me do it. That's the deal. So now going to this this doll, right? This possessed doll. So I listened to like a slight like interview of Ed Warren and him talking about the doll and the things that the doll did, the original doll. And like basically what the doll did in the movie, right? So like in the movie, an example would be girl looks at a rocking chair. Annabelle's on the rocking chair.
Yeah.
Turns her head, looks back. Annabelle's not in the rocking chair.
Yeah.
Like, okay. So Ed Warren was saying that these things were actually happening. Now, this is what I don't understand. Like, why are these people just saying this damn doll's moving all over the place? It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't get that. Because way back in the day, right, everybody was like kind of crazy, all this stuff. Like, if this girl's having her period, throw her in the water like she's a witch. There's so much crazy stuff going on because they don't have the knowledge and the information.
Yeah.
But where did they just come up with this doll's possessed? Like, I don't get that. Where does that come about? Like, oh, this doll's making, like, because in the movie, the doll's making everything do all this crazy thing. So I'm just thinking, how do you give this doll so much power to, like, spook all these people? That's what I don't get.
Yeah. Well, it's like, okay, wait, I actually have an anecdote for this. And then I can just throw whatever theory I want. But when I was, I don't know, like 14 or 15 years old, like I was old enough to know what I was doing kind of a thing. I had my two younger siblings, Tom and Claire, the twins. They were 4.5 years younger than me, so they were just kids at the time. And I told them, you know, because we were all raised Catholic, so back then it's like they didn't start questioning anything yet. So they were literally just kids going to church every Sunday. And I was like, hey guys, just so you know, don't go down in the basement with the lights off because the devil, the actual devil, lives in our basement. And if the lights come off, then he comes. Then he appears. So like you're only safe with the lights on. And then so I prime them with that. So that's kind of like lurking in their head. And then we'll like go to the basement and stuff. And the basement's like a normal basement. It's not like like a cellar kind of basement. It's normal. There's a carpet, there's a TV, couch, that kind of thing. And then I, you know, put something on, we start playing N64 or something, and then I just run over and slam the lights off and run upstairs and like close the door, and they're just screaming their head off. And it's because like I convinced them, and it just, you know, like that the devil's in the basement, and now that I turn the lights off, they're fucked. And so like that, they genuinely believed it when, you know, while that was happening, but then nothing happened, right? But yeah, so I think with the Annabelle thing, if you got two parents that are telling you that this doll is possessed by a demon that will fuck with you, it's like Loki, it's like a little demon of mischief, right? And then you just leave. That girl will now tell her babysitter, tell their friends, and then you know, if enough people are superstitious and you turn the lights off, so you have low lighting, so your mind starts interpreting what it's seeing because there's not enough light to actually give you a full image of what's going on. People will start imagining they're seeing things. Oh, there's a person walking by. Oh, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And their imagination kind of gets ahead of them, and then, you know, they experience this weird phenomenon of collected hallucinations, which is a real thing. It's rare, but, and also I'm sure that didn't even happen in real life, but by the base testimony of the dad Warren or whatever that was telling the story, that's probably what happened, right?
And people would also associate any sort of kind of bad luck to that doll, right?
Yeah.
So like if a light bulb suddenly like blew in the house,
if anything happened
that night, they'd be like, "Oh, it was the doll. It was because the doll's here."
Yeah.
But if the doll wasn't there, then that light bulb, you know, if that light bulb's 2 years old, it was going to blow at some point anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, but because the doll's there, they associate it with the doll. The doll, you know.
I think what's really interesting too about it is there's a lot of emphasis on, like, you know, crosses and things like this, but that creates like some sort of like spookiness to it, like when there's crosses and when things are labeled, like for instance, like when you're going, like the Annabelle doll's in this cage, like, or like in this glass container, and it's labeled "Do not positively open." It's like, why? That makes it more spooky. Like, it's like that makes it more like, okay, it must be that much more dangerous because it has this like label on it.
Really don't open it.
Yeah, like don't really.
I'm telling you, do not. Whatever you do, don't open that. Anyway, but you're fine. But just chill. You're good. And then you just leave the person alone with that in their head.
Yeah. Don't open this box with a creepy doll in that's locked. We're going away for a bit, leaving the keys on a table.
But,
just out.
And then the
keys
just
like left on a table.
Well, I mean, that's just a doll, but like, why'd you put it in a cage and why'd you say don't open it? Like, I would have left it alone, but now you've just, you know, now I gotta open it. I gotta see what's going on. Yeah. That's a funny thing. Because, oh man. So here's the thing. I can understand the mechanisms of the human mind, right? And our imagination, but that doesn't stop me from still being susceptible to it, right? It's like I'm a susceptible individual, just like anybody else. If you like, you know, tell me to go down in some cellar and then you laugh and close the door on me and I'm in a pitch black, I get scared like a motherfucker, and then I'll start imagining that there might be someone in there with me or something, right? And I'll spook myself out using my own imagination. So it's like it doesn't help knowing any of this stuff. If you're in the shit, you're just as likely to be someone who is going to testify saying that I 100% know that someone was in there with me. And they go, no, and then they turn the lights on, see, no one's here. You go, no, I knew someone's there. And they're like, maybe it was the doll.
Yeah.
And it's like,
And
no,
we all
no.
know, like, you don't want to be the guy in the horror film who dies because he doesn't believe there's something there. And everyone at home is screaming at the movie like, no, you idiot, there's something down there. But you're like, no, because they're not real. And then you get killed by it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, I'd say that's the only, that's the one thing that I always try and stress, where it's like, reality exists without people. So something like the light bulb breaking or some doll in a glass case, if there's just no people, everything still functions, right? But then we insert ourselves and all of a sudden there's meanings and there's patterns and there's stuff going on, right? Like something's happening over there. And it's like, there could be just nothing happening. There's just a tree blowing in the wind, but all of a sudden we think that it's like a ninja stalking us or something, right? Like, we can create like anything with our imagination.
I remember as a kid, oh my goodness, just the light switch alone, I used to always think that basically when I turn the light off in the basement, there's only a short amount of time for like a witch to grab my legs.
They will just, straight up. It's the fight or fight response.
Just like
instantly, yeah. Well, it's like the germs and the ground, right? You have 5 seconds.
Yeah,
the timer gets started. The second you flick the light off, boom. Yeah.
So sad.
Somebody faster than that old lady. Yeah.
It's crazy. That's so interesting. Wow.
But that's just what's up. That's the human mind, man. It's the crazy thing. And it doesn't matter how much you know. It's just like it'll always trick you, no matter what you do. Yeah.
What's so sad is when we put the movie on, Cameron had mentioned, like, he was like, "Aren't these people con artists?"
Yeah.
That's what he said.
They actually are. Yeah.
Like, how are these people, like, what I don't understand is how are these people like, I don't understand how these people go and collecting all these artifacts, saying they're cursed.
They're just taking, like, vulnerable people, right? Like, they'll find people who, like, recently had an accident or a parent has, like, passed away, and they'll want to, like, have that closure, so they'll just cash in on that. Like, they're selling closure for a price, essentially.
Yeah, straight up.
But then it's like, then you see like people like really psychics really like making money off of this, and it's like, but who are you connecting with, though?
It's funny when you see like
who are you connecting with?
Reporters, they'll go in and be like, "Can you find this little girl?" And then the person's claiming to be psychic.
There's so many good like montages of that on YouTube.
She's gone. She's passed away. She's on the other side, and the news reporter's like, "That's me." So.
Yeah, they're always getting cut out. Always.
No way.
She was shot. Remember that one, D? She was shot.
I commented. The comment's still going off right now. Yeah, it's so sad. A psychic was like, well, I think parents wanted to find out what happened to their daughter or son. They were apparently shot, but they didn't tell the psychic this.
No, they weren't shot. They weren't shot.
Yeah, so they didn't tell the psychic.
I think they died of asphyxiation.
Yeah.
And the psychic was like, I'm with your daughter now. Yeah, she was shot. And the parents were like, no, she was strangled. We want to know like why. We want to know what happened. The psychic's like, no, she was shot.
Yeah.
She was
shot. You gotta love how like
the parents like, no.
People still listen to this person, even when they do that. They go, no, but could you still tell us though? Like, you were absolutely wrong about what you just said, but still, we want to hear what you have to say. Like, what was, what happened to her? And they'll just make it something else up. They go, yes, she
was shot.
She shot with a sudden urge to stop breathing. Just come up with anything. Yeah. Oh my god.
The parents like, no, there was an autopsy and stuff. She wasn't shot.
Like there was an autopsy. She's like, no, she was shot.
She was shot.
Oh man, one of the harshest ones I saw was like a medium being like, okay, someone passed in your life recently, to like someone in the audience, and he goes, yeah. And he's like, who? I'm sensing a step person, whatever. And he's like, yeah, my stepmom. And he's like, okay, great. And I'm guessing you guys didn't have the best relationship. And he's like, No, we had a great one. No, no, no. I'm getting a vibe. I'm sensing that maybe she was a bitch. And it's just like, no, she was a wonderful woman. What are you talking about? It's like, no, trust me, the spirit world does not lie. That's saying that you guys had a rough relationship. And he's like, that's completely, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, it was so funny. Like, he was, not only was he wrong, but he was so rude about it. He was like, it's, oh my God.
Like she was
Yeah,
a
it's funny,
bitch.
man.
It's so mean to say.
She was a bitch. And it's like, whoa, what is this, Mean Girls?
Like, where's he
You're a
pulling
mean
that
girl,
from?
okay? You're a
Like,
bitch.
what fantasy is he just pulling?
Yeah.
Oh, that's too brutal. That's too brutal.
Yeah.
It's just
Damn, what are you gonna do? There's always there will always be those that want answers to things that are unanswerable, and there will always be those ready to give an answer. So that's
Yep.
the
We
unfortunate
actually
thing
just
is
had that discussion
Yeah.
about where did religion come from? Dee asked me briefly, and I said it's
Yeah,
just people didn't have answers, so they created their own answers.
Yeah, yeah.
This makes me
Oh.
so mad. Who dared did this?
It's weird.
What's
Yeah,
that?
it's like I think about the same thing when you think of like royalty, like blue blood.
Like who did that? Yeah, like how did who did all
They
that?
just feel like,
Yeah.
The best.
So yeah, that is super weird because I literally had a conversation just about that today with one of my coworkers. We're just like, digging stuff, we're putting in flowers, and then he was like, "Hey, so like you were talking earlier about, like the oldest city is like in Turkey or something." He's like, "Do you like history a lot?" I'm like, "Oh, I like the deep history." And then I just started ranting because we're just digging for like 40 minutes. So it's like, gotta talk about something.
Nice.
So I just started going off, and I'm talking about how like human beings like shed the bulk of our fur like 800,000 years ago. So like before we were even humans, right? Like we kept evolving and we were still like on the savannas of Africa, and it took until the latest ice age, which like happened from like 60,000 years ago to 12,000 years ago. So it was like a really long ice age. We invented clothes, and that was one of like the most important inventions human did. And as soon as we did that, we were able to successfully trek north where it was extremely cold, right? And we didn't just die. Like I'm sure humans traveled constantly, but then died. Like they just went to harsh conditions and couldn't make it because they were literally naked. But as soon as we were able to put clothes on, we could travel everywhere. And then we traveled across the Russian ice bridge to Canada. We traveled over to Europe and the Himalayas and like down like Singapore and making our way all the way down to Australia. Like we went everywhere. But yeah, and then while that was happening, people started burying their dead, and then it became this whole thing where it became ritualistic, where it's like instead of just being with your immediate family and then trying to kill any other humans that you don't recognize, if you believe in the same thing as the other person, now you're community. And so that didn't exist before. So we were very small and tight knit groups. But then as soon as you were able to collect several families together into this one belief, whatever it is, right? The snake god in the sky or the whatever, right? Like there's a million myths. You get a storyteller that makes up a story. The family tells it. Several families join in, and then eventually it gets to a point where kings and queens say, "Oh, actually, the snake god, he appointed me as like the best, and my bloodline. So now my king's the best."
Yeah.
And so we're
so
appointed
cool.
by God basically to be king and queen over all of you, and you're all our peasants now. And then that's how kingdoms came to be, as literally by divine blood, or what you say, right? Yeah.
Mm.
I love that. I
All
love it.
calm, right? It's like the mediums of today would have been kings and queens
Sweet
1,000 years ago. It's so stupid, but
Mm.
that's literally how it works, right? You just need someone who's extroverted and who's good at telling stories, and then boom, you got it.
That's the thing
Yeah.
about the Bible. The Bible, somebody just thought, you know what? Whoever they heard the story from, they're like, we gotta get this down because this story's gold.
We gotta write this shit. Yeah.
This story's gold. Like, especially the idea of like Adam and Eve and like heaven and hell. That is like genius.
That is a good story.
That's a good story.
If you're thinking in story terms, it is a good story.
Right?
Yeah. Well, let me tell you
How the
guys,
world was created.
hell
It's like
isn't. I don't think it's actually in the Bible. I think hell was made up after the fact. Like Christianity was written like whatever it was, like 200 years after the death of Jesus was when the writings began of the Bible. So first off, that's not really firsthand testimony, but the people write the Bible, and then once it's written, Christians start following it. So they kind of depart from Judaism. But then the Roman Catholics, the Roman Empire has taken over all these countries, right? And they notice all these countries they're taking over are like Christian, and they're like, well, we can keep killing everyone who's Christian, or since there's so many of our population are Christian now, instead of believing in like Zeus and on all like the Greek gods, they're like, let's just switch it over. So then that's where the Roman Catholic idea came from. And then I think that's when hell was implemented, because it's a control mechanism. They say if you sin, if you go against our rules, you fucking, you're gonna get tortured, but forever, and you're just tortured.
It's Santa Claus, basically. It's this, why we use Santa Claus on children is why we use hell. So we say to kids, if you're bad, no presents at Christmas. But then that doesn't work on adults. So to adults, you have to say, if you're bad, you'll burn in hell, right?
Do what
it's the exact same thing.
Wants of you.
The adults in Claus.
Yeah, they're adulting. Yeah, those bastards. Oh, also, it's I think it's less like North American Santa Claus and more like Germanic Santa Claus, because you know how they have like he's got like the little devil version of Santa Claus, where it's like the good kids get Santa Claus toys, but the bad kids literally get kidnapped by a demon and like taken away from their families. Like that shit's fucked up. Whatever that's called, Krampus, I guess. Yeah, it's like
Krampus. Yeah.
It's really interesting. Really well. I don't know why the way you told that reminded me of this sounds kind of really lame, but the Vampire Diaries. I saw the whole series, and it's kind of lame. It's really cool how like they tell the story of how vampires and werewolves originated and how hybrids become hybrids. It's the sickest thing. Like, and it all really comes back to like storytelling, basically. That's how they find out, because of from storytelling and like people leaving markings on literally cave walls.
Yeah.
Like the stories on the cave walls, they have to decode it, and it's really cool because they're using basically like symbols to show like the moon and the sun, and like, and basically what it is it's communities trying to protect other communities. So the vampires have to be created because they're being attacked always by werewolves. Little things like this, right? Whereas it's like, and then they need something. Then something has an affair, and then it's like, boom! Now there's witches involved, and it's like, oh my god! Now there's hybrids. Really, really interesting. It's always the story though that seems to prolong, because to this day now, people like Twilight sells, and it's like vampires, right? Like, because the story's been told from so far. Like when, like who knows when vampires were? People probably believed in vampires at one point.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Well, actually, the idea of vampires is, I think, based on a specific. I don't know if it was a tribe or like a cult or something, but there was like a small group of people, and I don't know which country, but I would assume Eastern Europe or something like that, that were cannibals. They would bury people, and like as a way of torture or something, and then dig them up and eat them. And so, like, I guess someone survived one of those encounters and like told the tale of these fucked up people that ate other people, and then that was romanticized with just a bite of the neck instead of like literally ripping the flesh. And then it's spun off.
Dracula is based on Vlad the Impaler, who I believe was Romanian.
I think that's the tale.
Right?
I don't know if it's the actual historical account. I think he's from what Turkey used to be, so the Ottoman Empire.
Oh, okay, Ottoman then, yeah.
Okay.
But the dude loved to impale people. He was all about them hearts, like, because he would just he'd make a shish kebab out of people.
Yeah. and then they apparently drank their blood, and then that's that.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah. Probably because he was told from some random witch doctor. They were just like, if you drink these people's blood, it keeps you youthful.
Yeah.
He started doing it. Yeah. But there was one thing that I just got inspired by of you saying all that stuff, Derron, was that one scene from 2001: A Space Odyssey. That's a version of storytelling that tells the origin of man. It's back when we were like ape people, like before we even evolved. And, this one tribe is like kicked out of a watering hole from this other tribe that's got like stronger guys or something. So they're all like kind of feeling down and out. And then they wake up and there's this towering monolith of, right in front of them. They're like, oh, what the fuck? And they start like touching it. And then that one like grabs the stick and starts like hitting the other sticks with it. And then he realizes he can like use it as a weapon. And then it's like, it's like when consciousness turned on basically. And then it's when we started like inventing things. And then they got back to that watering hole and fucking beat the shit out of the other 8 people and then took it back. And we're like, yes! And it's like basically war is like when we first became intelligent. like, ah, damn it,
Yeah.
why, we started violent, but that's just how
True,
shit
that scene terrified me as a kid and still kind of does. One, because when the monolith appears, there's like a really haunting music
like it's
on that
so
scene,
yeah,
and
love
that
it. I
right
love
gets
it.
under your
Oh,
skin. It's that sort of music because like, ugh.
yeah,
And like the way the apes are like reacting to it, they're all like, whoa, freaked out. But I
Yeah.
also have like one of my only phobias is there's something about people in ape costumes that freaks me out.
Okay. Oh, so you
It's
don't
like
like
an
leopards.
uncanny valley, right? Because it's like if I
Yeah.
go to a zoo and look at a real gorilla, completely fine. But when I know it's a person dressed as an ape, and specifically in that movie, their fur's like all matted and it's very, very, very dark. You
Yeah,
can't
and they
see
have
features
defined
very well.
faces. It's like
Freaked me out as a kid. Freaked me
right.
out.
Yeah.
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 No, that totally makes sense. That's yeah. And also I think I talk about or I've like made a video about fear and stuff because I try to like understand the whole uncanny valley thing, and I feel like the unknown and the different, those are the two things that like create the most fear when something is something that you recognize but is off. And so I think
Uh-huh.
like from an evolutionary perspective, that was maybe humans' way to like detect diseases or something. Like if someone's like has I don't know, like leprosy is a bad example because I don't think it's contagious, but some kind of visual thing happening to them, they go, okay, I know you're a human, but you look like something's off,
Ah.
so I'm gonna be scared to get the fuck away from you, or if they're coughing up blood or something, right?
Yeah.
And then the other one's the unknown, right? If it's just a dark hallway, you don't know what's on the other side, but that's just fucking scary. That concept of just the unknown,
Yeah. Yeah.
obviously because we can't see in the dark, and there might be like a leopard outside of the cave, so fear of the dark. So it's
Yeah.
like it's all
Do you
really
ever
old here, but
do you ever
yeah.
deep dive into like the TikTok side of mysteries like that? Because the Uncanny Valley one came up recently for me,
Yeah.
where they were theorizing that the reason why we have the Uncanny Valley fear is because at some point in human evolution we had, which is somewhat true, another human race that was similar to us but not quite, which would be the Neanderthals.
Yeah.
They were like humans, but not quite like humans. And we
And we fought.
basically wiped them out and beat them to the
Yeah, yeah,
top of
yeah.
the,
We
you
fucked
know?
them for like 6,000 years and intermingled with them, and then we genocided them after we had
Yeah,
enough. Yeah, enough
yeah.
fucking.
So
They're like,
this
all right, we're
guy on
done with you guys.
TikTok was theorizing that maybe that's where our fear comes from, because we know to recognize this person is like us, but there's something a little bit off about them, and
Yeah, yeah. Our brains
danger,
are
danger
pretty
now.
social based.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Mm.
I feel like
In a
100%
way.
that could be it. Um, it's messed up though. I mean, what the hell, you know? Why the hell do we have to be so violent? When we look
Yeah.
at our closest genetic cousins, the chimpanzees and bonobos, which are both part of the pan genus. So like if we didn't wipe out Neanderthals, then there would be two hominids, which are like the human genus. And then so that currently exists with the chimps and the bonobos. They're part of the pan genus. And the bonobos are like super peaceful and like kind of docile. They're kind of like sloths. Like they just kind of chill and have sex always. And then the chimps are like a war race. It's like we love chimps because we see them in the zoos and stuff, but in the wild they're vicious. They will cannibalize each other and have territory wars and shit. And it's like we're closer to chimps than bonobos as far as our behavior goes. We are a
Yeah.
war people, you know? It's like war has just constantly persisted throughout history and the generations and stuff.
So
It's
maybe
what the
the Neanderthals were more like the bonobos. They were very
I
pleasant, and
I
that's why we
literally
wiped them
think
out
that's
so
true.
easily,
Yeah, I
right?
think that's literally true. Is that we wiped them out because they were docile and easy to kill because they just
Uh-huh.
weren't as violent as us, and we were more violent, and we won, and we
Yeah.
fucking just killed them all. Like, yeah, it's so terrible,
Wow.
but there's like their bones stopped 30,000 years ago. We can't find any more recent ones, so 100% they exist and we wiped them all out. That's basically like an
Mhm.
archaeological fact.
Got wiped out.
Yeah, but aren't there people around today who would technically be like half Neanderthal, half like there has to
No,
be?
no, not half. But my sister's fiance, I
They're
think, is
both
4%, and he's like, I, because I don't know where Neanderthals exist. I think they were mountainous people, so they exist on like the Alps and the Himalayas and stuff like that. They're very northern
Mm.
type of people. So Yes, like if you're from that region, then you're probably it's like Genghis Khan. It's like if you're from that region, then you probably got a percentage of that, of that type in you. Yeah.
Mm.
And so I guess that's the case with my sister's fiance. Yeah, he's part Neanderthal. He's got it in him. Yeah. It's weird, but it's like that's what's up, right? Yeah. We can test for that. It's in the blood. Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
Let me ask you guys a question. Okay,
Yeah.
What if we can go back in time? We watched this movie about time. We're gonna get into this. So I've been thinking a lot about time, and then now with the storytelling and going back, what is something that you guys think that we could, if we were able to go back in time and change something for the future, what would thing be to have such a drastic change that could
okay, I got it. So the opportunity is that you could change one thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't even know if this would create a real change, but if I just had one shot, one opportunity, however the lyrics of that Eminem song go, if you had one shot, I would
Arms are heavy.
stop the burning of the Library of Alexandria. Because that was a big thing. When that burned, we lost like 1,000 years of potential advancement and knowledge. Yeah. Like a lot of shit that didn't have a copy of it got burned. Like so many books disappeared.
What a guy. That's a great shout, Joe.
What a shout.
That's a great shout.
Yeah, I'll get burned instead. Some random guy's going to be throwing a torch and I'll just like get in the way and just
Yeah. You're the reason. You're the
reason. Screaming like Jerry. Oh, get this ball off of me! Jumping away.
No, I was going to say I wouldn't change anything because everything has to happen for a reason, right? Like even the people who are saying, "Oh, you'd go back and stop religions being created," but if it wasn't for events that need to happen, we're only where we are now because of everything that's right. But then you went and said knowledge, and I'm like, damn, that's a really good one. Yeah, knowledge.
Yeah.
Damn. We could be even more into the future if they'd have saved all those documents.
Yeah.
Right. However, it's most likely if I stop the one guy, it would inspire others to try even harder, and so we'd end up in the exact same scenario where the library gets burned. Yeah,
it's always meant to happen. Yeah.
Yeah. Like the Time Machine movie, right? Yeah.
Joe, have you seen this movie, Tenet?
Of course. What do you mean? You're saying it as if it's a random movie. This is fucking the Christopher Nolan's latest movie. Yeah, of course.
Oh, gosh, I was so.
Have you heard of this like indie film called Tenet by some unknown director?
Have you heard about it? It's pretty low key.
Yeah, it went under the radar a bit.
Movie to watch in 2020. Yeah.
Because it came out during COVID.
Yeah.
And it flopped.
No, but I think that is the last movie I've seen in theaters.
It's a great movie. Like they I don't know. I've seen it a few times now, but I thought it was like 10 out of 10.
He loves this movie. He's like screaming about it. I thought it was Black Panther, first of all. But I don't know why I thought it was Black Panther, but I just thought it was because at the time he passed away, I thought this was his movie. It's Denzel Washington's son, right?
Yeah. Whatever the hell his name is. He'll always be remembered as Denzel Washington's son. You'll never have your own name. You'll live under the shadow of your father forever. It's true, though. I mean, come on, Denzel. That's the same as, like, just anybody who's, like, the son of a famous person, right?
Those are big
Tom
shoes.
Hanks. Tom Hanks' kids. Like, whatever your name is, Tom Hanks.
Yeah,
kid.
Colin. Son name's Colin.
Tom Hanks is better, yeah. But, yeah, okay, I'll say this. Tenet is the same as 2001: A Space Odyssey, where the concept is incredible, but there's not a lot going on with the characters. The one character, the female, she has like a story arc, but that's it. The main character doesn't. It's like the main character doesn't have a story arc. Come on. Even Neo, who's supposed to be playing Slate, had a character arc to him. So
he's the best character in it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that part I'm disappointed in, but the concept is like, wow. It's just fun. It's just so good for like action set pieces. You have one going forward, one going in reverse, and they intertwine.
Yeah.
Oh. He should make a sequel to that. That concept shouldn't just be a one-off. I feel like he could make a trilogy out of that concept.
Exactly. Like they left it kind of on a cliffhanger.
One more, God damn it. Yeah.
It could be like Robert Pattinson's character in the future with Denzel's son.
Yeah, straight up. Yeah, exactly. Because they just hint at that. They talk about it. It's like, oh, all this stuff happens in the future, and it's like.
And then the older version of himself, when he's older and he's training Robert Pattinson.
Yeah, young Rowan.
played by Denzel because he's older.
Exactly.
Oh my God! If they did that, yeah, they had Denzel
Let's write it.
Washington play him. Dude, that would be a trip. Yeah. Oh my God, that'd be casting perfection. Yeah.
See, the movie probably couldn't even been a little bit if it like maybe wasn't Denzel's son, but it was Chad.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like if it was Chad Boseman, it wouldn't have to be compared to Denzel, and it would just be a Chad movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or as I said, like actual Denzel should have been in that role.
Right. Yeah. You'll literally just get rid of his son.
Yeah.
So mean. They like shoot the whole movie with him and go, actually, you know what? I think your dad's just gonna be better for this. Oh my God. Dang.
There was something Aidan pointed out in the movie, but he was very short, and there was a lot of times I was looking. He's looking up at the girl the whole time. I was
no, the girl's just super tall. The girl's super tall, and she's wearing heels. That's not the guy's fault. Come on. Hey, short kings for life, man. I'm about the short kings. Yeah.
I'm
they
short.
Need respect. Yeah.
I'm short. But movie-wise, he was looking up a lot.
He was.
That's an Easter egg.
Honestly, normalize looking up. I think that should be normalized. I understand the idea of the protagonist being the big buff whatever, but it's like, come on. Have him look up every so often. You know? It makes the world seem bigger. You just cast short protagonist. Yeah. You know?
He was short. When he was running and stuff, you can tell his legs are just like short.
Like he just disappeared.
And short, so I'm allowed to say this.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
But why is so for instance, I was mentioning to Aidan a little while ago, like short and tall. It's kind of why do people think that's something that's like okay? So for instance, there's this older man that like is married to a younger female that is beautiful, but they'll say, oh well, he's short, so you know he needs to have a tall, beautiful woman on his side. Not that there's anything wrong with being short, but it's like, but then why are you saying that he's short?
Why are you even adding that in the equation?
Yeah. Like you know what I mean? Like why? Or for instance, an example would be like, what do you think of this person? She's awesome. She's really nice. She's super tall.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
well,
it becomes a personality trait. Yeah.
I don't get that.
It's just like, I don't know, it's a descriptor that like humans seem to value quite a bit, like height-wise.
Who cares if he's short? Like, but they always have to mention that. They're like, oh, well, because he's short, he has to like, you know, like pay up in other ways. So he has to have this beautiful car and this really big house and like this tall, beautiful woman. It's like,
yeah,
he just wants a tall, beautiful woman and a Corvette and a nice big house.
Honestly, if you think about it, all of the world's characteristics like that and like so many other things are kind of just based on childhood bullying. It like dictates the adult life of so many people, right? It's like if you're short, in high school or whatever, everybody just mentions that to you, and then it gets stuck in your head as an insecurity, and then the rest of your life you're like compensating for it. Like you're like a 45-year-old man, and you're still like, that's the mindset you have. But it's like, because shit sticks.
Yeah, and that's why a lot of women, like, I don't want to sound like women come at me, whatever, but that's why a lot of women can't find a partner, because they conjure up Prince in their head, and this Prince Charming's like 6'2", like he's literally Chris Evans from, and they think this guy's just knocking on the door, scoop them up, because that's what we've been fed.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I think that's like a kind of a specifically North American thing. Well, I mean, if anything, Aidan, let me know if that's also a British thing. But I feel like it's the Disney movies. It's very American.
Yeah.
It's the concept of like almost a capitalistic mindset where it's like marry rich, like that idea of like marry rich and have a person be in utter servitude towards you forever.
Yeah. Well, it even predates Disney princesses, because it goes back to like the Bronte sisters writing about Mr. Darcy coming to the manor and whisking them off their feet, and
talking about
Wuthering Heights. Anyone? Wuthering Heights? No. Okay. It's a book.
I am illiterate. I have no idea. True. But no. But still, yeah, the point remains, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
okay, maybe it's like a Victorian culture where it's like
Yeah. So like,
it's
the
weird.
aristocratic man comes to the house and arranges with your father that he will marry you, and take you to his manor and give you a life.
And also that
Yeah.
idea of like, oh, a woman's just weak and fragile, so don't lift a pinky. This, your husband will do everything for you. And then it creates that mentality of like, okay, I guess I'll just be a woman child forever and just have people do things for me constantly and then kind of become spoiled. Because that's almost something that can't be helped. It's the same as like Justin Bieber becoming like a famous millionaire by the time he was a kid. It's like, of course he was going to end up kind of being an asshole because he had no chance. I mean, he was just given all this shit. It's like that would spoil anybody, right? So it's unfortunate, but it's just something that's like involuntary. If you're given everything, then you become spoiled and then expect everything, right? Your environment kind of dictates your day-to-day living situation. For myself, for example, I've always been a low-income person, unfortunately, or whatever. I guess the majority of people are in every country. But I just wake up happy to be alive. Like, I really don't expect much from the world. I never, like, get road rage being like, oh, like, what, why is traffic happening? It's just like, well, it always happens. And plus, what, am I special? I'm just another fucking grunt, It's like I'm just going off to work every morning, right? So my expectations are low as they could possibly be. I guess the only thing that I expect is just general happiness with my own living situation, I guess, right? I try to set myself up good. But then I don't expect anything from the world. I don't expect people to help me. I don't expect anything, right?
Yeah.
If I'm walking towards a door and someone's like going through it, I don't expect them to hold it. And most of the time they don't. Yeah.
Agreed. Great. Yeah.
I don't get angry that they don't hold it for me. I go, that's fine, of course. Like, why would I expect them to hold it for me? So,
And I don't expect them
just
to say thank you either when I hold them open for them and they just walk through it. I don't expect them to say thank you because much like
right. When people are just expect that from you and then don't even give you a thanks.
Okay, great.
Yeah, you go, okay. Yeah.
On that topic though, there was this girl in the news recently. So kind of coming off what you were saying, how like certain women want to be whisked away. She was in a relationship with this guy. Brought her to a certain level where he's paying for pretty much all of her bills, and then they break up, and she expects him to continue to pay for all of her bills.
Wait, why was that in the news? What happened?
It's just because like it's so outrageous.
Right. Yeah, like I guess she was making a scene out of it or something.
Well,
yeah, that's just.
It was just like the entitlement of like I deserve to be, you know what I mean, taken care of.
I think
it seems so outrageous it shouldn't be real, but it's like it's real. There are people like that all the time, right? Yeah.
That's why people get prenups signed, right? So that
that's my girlfriend and I, if ever we get married, we're gonna do prenups, and it's not because one of us is like a gold digger. We're both making the same amount of income.
It's Joe. Joe's the gold digger. It's Joe. Joe's the gold digger.
I'm marrying up, maybe. Maybe she's 90 years older than me. Still, we're gonna do the prenup, and then I'll just force her to write my name in the will. But it should just be a common practice, or it shouldn't even be a part of marriage that you have to tie your finances together. It seems like an old world thing. It seems like something where it's like, oh, well, in the 1950s, women weren't allowed to work. So therefore, if a divorce happens, the male must pay half for the living situation. It's like, everybody's allowed to work now. There shouldn't be a situation where the marriage splits the money in half. It's like, people make what they make, and that's, it's like, why is the bank tied to marriage? That's the weird part, right?
Yeah, and as long as, like, thinking that safe, like, if you to get divorced, as long as you can both be adults about it and be like, okay, like, originally we went halves on the couch, and we went halves on a TV, and we went halves on a nice bed and a car and things. As long as you can, like, divide that stuff up like adults,
yeah.
and it's fine.
Yeah, no. There's like many cases of people literally like sawing the couch in half, the TV.
Yeah.
Or like bringing the kids into it or the dog
divorce.
into it and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it's brutal. Those are brutal situations.
But yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do? Human behavior can seem outrageous until you remember that it's only recently that we've been recording everything. It's like there have probably been such outrageous situations 600 years ago, but like we just don't know about it, It's like the silliest stories where people just act like completely entitled, or the craziest thing happens.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Before we like wrap up, that made me think of something the other day. I can't remember if we were watching something that made me think about it, but obviously we know the past because, you know, in the last 100 years we used to document things in books.
Yeah.
Then it was scrolls. Then it was carvings on the walls. Then it was cave paintings, right? And of course we'd pass stories on, but you lose the details every time you share the story to someone. But now in this time that we're in, I think it's because we were talking about school and we were talking about how everything's digitized now. Everyone's just doing it online. There's no I don't imagine they're printing as many textbooks as they used to do at school. You know, like at least, you know, like those big physics textbooks we used to get in science class and stuff, and you know, and all the information about physics you had to read from the book. You had to borrow it from a library and read about it. But now it's all digital.
Yeah.
So if something was to happen, like a cataclysmic event,
a solar blast EMPs the Earth.
Yeah, and so it wipes out all that digital information. And then, like, the human race semi-dies out, and then, like, thousands and thousands of years go by, and the next generation of humans are trying to learn about our time period now, just like we were learning about the ancient Egyptians 4,000 years ago. It's like, what if that information's just gone? They'll have, like, a gap from, like, this millennium age where they'll be like, what happened in that time? What were people, like, where did the human race go?
Yeah. I think one thing that I had heard about, or something that kind of stuck with me, was the idea of, like, let's say we wage war and, like, we all die out and there's a nuclear holocaust that just completely engulfs the Earth and kills off the atmosphere, kills everybody. And then, like, 50 million years pass, something insane. All of the structures, even the pyramids, get wiped out by Mother Nature. Like, it's just all gone. Everything's recycled, renewed, or the planet's wiped out, whatever. But then aliens come to Earth after getting our Adolf Hitler signals, because wasn't that one of the first radio signals that went out into space, I think? So it's like they get that weird shit. And they're like, oh, humans. So they go as fast as they can to Earth, but it takes them 50 million years. Then they reach us, and they're like, it was this planet, right? And they were kind of checking out. They're like, there's no structures. There's literally no evidence of intelligent life here. But then they navigate through the ocean depths, and all of a sudden they start finding all of these pellets of plastic. And they go, what the fuck? What is this? And it seems like this was designed. Oh, what is this? Coca-Cola water bottle, like whatever, right? Plastic.
That's about, yeah.
Does not recycle or deteriorate. And plastic will be here for millions and tens of millions of years after we've gone. And that will be ultimately a sign of intelligent life on this planet.
And then they would have to theorize, what was this Coca-Cola bottle? Did they worship it? I guess
exactly.
They did.
They worship the Coke?
And then
they love Coke.
A whole theory about it.
Yeah.
I love me some Coca-Cola.
But it's the same as the burning of Alexandria. Yeah, it's like if we get EMP blasted, we would just lose it all. Yeah. They would just have to try to reverse engineer buildings. That's the only thing they could learn. Whatever physical thing is left. So they go, ooh, what is this? Oh, a CN Tower. Interesting. And then they'll just learn how to make another CN Tower, I guess. Yeah, so nothing crazy, but yeah.
There's one more. Okay, go ahead, Joe. Go ahead.
Well, I wanted to say I was holding on to a tier list. This one's really quick. So I don't know if you guys want to end on the tier list or not.
Okay, yeah, sure. What is it?
Super quick. Wait, but first, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, I wanted to ask Cameron how he feels being back in Canada. Like, does it feel...
Oh my God, of course. Yeah. So obviously the temperature changed, but
like,
how long have you been gone?
Of, like, being away for 2 years, then now you're back. Your feet are in the ground, you know?
The thing is, like, as far as England, their lockdown ended April 12th. So we were allowed to go inside, dine in. So it's weird when you come back somewhere and things are locked down a bit more. I'm currently on quarantine, so I haven't been able to leave. I'm able to leave on the 9th, but it feels good to be back. Like, it's weird. Like, the roads are one thing. Like, as soon as you drive down the streets, just the way the houses look, things like that are just feels very like home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very nice to be back, despite all the COVID stuff. But you know, soon I'll be able to go outside and experience this hot weather.
And to travel too. Like, how was the travel?
It's been fun. Obviously, yeah, COVID did put a hinder on things, but in between, I was able to see like Italy, Czech Republic, Scotland, a lot of places.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, so you're just living. You're just living your life.
It was.
Oh my god. Yeah, I'm jealous.
When you think back, it'll be. I feel like 20 years from now, when all this blows over, we'll be reaching into our pockets and we'll pull out a mask. We'll be like, "Oh my God, wow!" 20 years ago, like,
yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
And then you get that flashback, and it's like the sounds coming back, and there's the shapes of the lockdown, and like no.
Yeah.
Just
You just hear like a bomb siren, just
yeah.
You're like, oh no.
The smell of hand sanitizer will suddenly come back.
Just like
Yeah. Oh my god.
so scary.
Yeah, absolute. That would be traumatic. Yeah, I would not enjoy that. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Sweet.
So y'all ready for let's conclude this bad boy with a tier list. This one is gonna be fun. If you guys can see the screen here, I've superimposed it. Is it enlarged for you guys?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, so these are natural disasters. We got the whole shebang here. We got
just after we talked about the end of the world.
Forest fires. Hell yeah. I was like, this weather's got me in the mood, you know? So let me try to fix this. I'm going to pop us into full screen mode, and then let's just go over what we got.
Okay, perfect.
I think one final thing, presentation mode.
We love your presentation.
Whoa. Tiny.
Oh, that one tiny.
Yeah, I've never seen it that small before. Come back!
And then you have to close Aidan too.
Well, yeah, why is it only me?
Oh, now it's me now. And Cam.
I guess there we go, yeah.
Oh, because you're talking?
Yeah, it's audio related. I think.
There we go. Perfect.
Okay, you guys ready for this? Let me change my webcam, actually. I'm going to bring it over here. All right, so before us, this first one, and it actually changed, it's flooding. So first off, I don't know how the fuck we're rating this. Like, does S mean good? We love it? I don't think so. I think it should be how hardcore it is.
Yeah.
Right? D meaning mild, and I don't think any of these are mild. And then we go from there.
Like, the lives it takes. This just sounds so bad, but yeah.
Oh boy. Well, I mean, hey, you know, global warming, climate change, what the fuck, you know, we're living in it. But okay, so flooding. What do we think about flooding? Is that natural disaster, or is it kind of mild?
I think it's mild.
Katrina, like the flooding afterwards is what did a lot of like the damage. So.
Oh,
that's true. Sure. However, yeah, I'm thinking catastrophe-wise, hurricanes got more on the disaster scale, and flooding is, well, I don't know, yeah, because flooding can kind of come quick. But compared to tsunamis, all the things about flooding are kind of aftermaths of a hurricane.
Yeah, they're not like world-ending events. They're usually like...
World doesn't end with just going like this.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
They usually subside after a while, and obviously the buildings get damaged, but...
it sucks for everybody living there, but yeah.
A little less than medium.
At the end, because you see like certain cars like in cities driving through like flooded areas.
Like it's like... Yeah. It's not that bad, right? It's bad.
If you've got a boat...
What do you think, C? C or B?
I would say maybe a C.
Yeah, I'm thinking C.
Yeah, that's a safe C. Yeah. Okay, next we have earthquakes. It's a weird picture, but it's a destroyed road, so I'm going to say that that's an earthquake. What do we think about them? I'm thinking earthquakes are what we think of when we think of natural disasters, right?
True.
So, well, yeah, I mean...
I guess it depends what scale, because like you can get the little tremors, right? But we're talking full scale, like category 5 or what's it called? Magnitude 5? What's the
Richter scale?
The Richter scale. Stage 7 on the Richter scale or something. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So if it's like leveling houses and making the road crack open,
I would say B.
Plates. I mean, yeah, it's like completely.
It's like a magnitude 9.
It's like a B. It takes the house down. Everything's broken.
B for breaking houses. Yeah. About it. Yeah.
You know, you're like underneath the table. Things are falling. All right.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Okay, so now we have forest fires. This is a
kind of movie with Angelina Jolie.
Those Who Wish Me Dead, they were fighting forest fires.
He loved this movie. I was like, it was like a C for me.
To be honest, depending how large, because there is a lot of forest. Like if you're in Montana, even in Canada, certain places.
If you, I could do some.
Yeah, I mean, Australia had the worst one in global
Right at the top
history
20.
last year, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
And it lasted for weeks.
True. Okay. Well,
And all the animals. Think of the animals.
Like,
Yeah,
That's true.
Forest fire seems kind of, kind of flood level, but I don't know if its devastation is still kind of more hardcore because of the flame element, right? It's more terrifying.
Yeah,
So,
and I feel like fire, you're more likely to die of fire than,
watch out.
I don't know, like you could kind of,
Well,
you can kind of float and swim and get in a boat and get away in a flood, but in a fire, it's like if you're trapped, you're cooked.
like
True.
humans found a good way to fight fires, but we don't know how to fight earthquakes. We don't know how to fight floods, really.
That's true, but fires can also be so tremendous. There's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah,
California
that's
had
the thing
fires.
I'm thinking is like if like I'm thinking these at their worst. Like an earthquake at its worst is like it's gonna take down my house. It's like okay, that's
Yeah.
pretty intense. But it's like there's a chance of me to get out of that possibly. Now,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
at its absolute worst.
But it's a forest fire, so if I don't live near the forest, I'm good.
But just say like, what about the ones? There are ones in California that were going for like weeks.
Yeah.
Those people,
Yeah, yeah.
And the
It was a
Australia one-
gender
Australia
reveal
one
party
was-
that caused it too.
right? Like
Yeah.
that's like I don't know. I'm thinking
Yeah, it's like a higher tier.
Yo, yeah, you thinking B? I'm kind of.
Yeah, I'm thinking B.
safe on B.
Okay,
Honestly,
same as Oak, right.
I'm beginning to like put a mental kind of thing in my head where I'm like, okay, B is it destroys your house. C
Yeah.
is like it's slow and it's inconvenient and could cause property damage.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
obviously, I mean it's
Yeah.
your basement,
That's
everything,
good.
but
Yeah.
so the destruction level kind of increases.
Mhm.
So next we got a motherfucking hurricane. This
Ooh,
is
those are bad.
a disaster. This is 2012. This
Those are
is
all-
the
Yeah.
day after tomorrow.
Because
This
the
is-
hurricane causes the flooding, and the
Yes.
hurricane
Yeah.
like causes the strong winds that damage the houses and damage entire cities and knock the
So-
power out.
They have electricity in them, and then they strike trees sometimes, and then the trees start fires.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Yo,
They
okay, so
Definitely,
honestly,
definitely.
They do all of them.
At least
I-
is S like instantly we're dead, or
yeah, well, okay, so that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking hurricanes are terrifying, but they're not world-ending. I'm specifically looking
Yeah,
at that last
'cause if
picture.
you don't
that
live
last
on the
picture
coast-
could cause
Yeah.
cloud that could cover the globe.
Yeah,
depending on
I'm
the-
waiting for that. Yes.
So I'm thinking a
Um,
hurricane is an A as like super destructful, but not to the entire planet. So that's
Yeah.
like
If you don't
hurricanes
live
are
near the ocean, then yeah.
Yeah. We're mainland. That's what I love about Ontario. We are mainland as fuck. We do not have to deal with ocean shit. I'm a vet. Okay, so
Yeah.
now I don't know what this is, and I can't zoom in anymore. I think this is a landslide. What do you guys think that picture is?
Oh, like a mudslide.
Yeah.
Okay, that's low then. That's like C. That's
Yeah, I
Mudslide's
agree.
because it's like a flood, right? You're just gonna get your house is probably gonna
Slow,
maybe
but
get a
still
wall
tough.
knocked through.
Property damage. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if they showed me an avalanche I think is more destructive than a mudslide.
Mm.
you know? Like that could completely take people out. Mudslide is just kind of sucks. I mean, you
It's
could
like
lose your
it's
job.
Yeah.
after.
Because
Yeah.
like a flood, after a few weeks, the water's gonna go down. A mudslide, once it's settled, you just dig everything out again.
It's less. Yeah, your house doesn't explode from a mudslide.
Yeah.
As far as we know, I mean, I am ignorant.
never
of
been in
natural
one.
disaster. I've never really experienced any of them. But
Yeah.
okay, so now this is a fun one in America, and in I guess Northern Ontario actually experiences this too. We got tornadoes. Tornadoes. I don't know if I would put it as high as a hurricane. I feel like it's
No,
it's
I
as destructive, but it's way smaller.
B.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a safe B. It will
'Cause I
destroy
feel
your house,
like
but not like
yeah,
your entire-
the people that live in like the Dust Belt, like where all the tornadoes are in America, in
Yeah.
that one part, like the middle states, they're all prepared for them at all times, right? They've got storm shelters, they've got siren,
Yeah.
like they're just ready for them.
It's fully loaded to go. Like they're all good.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
Some houses are like fully like tornado proof.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
They're like
And
bolted.
And your house is made of wood anyway, so that if the roof gets ripped off, you put a new roof on.
yeah, just
Like it
pop it
has to rip up like
You-
happy.
you
Because it's
Fortnite
that
stuff.
easy. You just put a new
Yeah.
roof on. It's that
Just
easy.
put it on. Yeah, what are you guys complaining about? Oh, you lost your dog. Just put a new roof on.
I just
Yeah.
read that somewhere. It's like people are hurt.
Okay.
And tornado proofing their house.
Yeah. But okay, so this one is a little harder to house-proof, and that is a tsunami.
Yeah.
I'm saying that's
Tsunamis
Tsunami's bad.
are fucking epic. It's
Yeah.
more stuff where it's like it doesn't happen to the whole world. Again, we're mainland, so we're good. But to the people it affects, like Japan, like any kind of coastal people, it fucks them
Yeah.
up. So I'd say, yeah, there are a lot of water-related hardcore disasters.
Joe, I
you
said
know?
that's
Yeah.
S.
That might be S tier.
You're thinking S? Well, it doesn't
I
affect
think
the whole
so too.
world.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
every movie, every disaster movie that has a natural disasters, you know the tsunamis coming.
It's like tsunamis the first
Okay,
thing.
all right,
Yeah.
yeah.
And Joe, think of like the power of the wave, like the amount of force it has
A tsunami
when it hits those buildings, and it's pulling like anything that's at sea with it, like any boats and stuff. So those are coming crashing into the buildings as
you're
well.
not surviving. Your
It's
house
like-
is surviving.
and-
No one's surviving.
Yeah.
Right,
And then it's
yeah.
leaving everything flooded afterwards, so it's bringing a flood as well.
It's bringing
It's
all
like a
this-
twofer.
It is a twofer. Does it make it that different from a hurricane? Like hurricanes are slower, tsunamis are kind of instant, but
Mhm.
tsunamis are caused by earthquakes under the ocean, and it's kind of localized. So that's why I'm holding out hope for
But like,
the
think of
particular.
it. Okay, remember we're doing
Yeah.
it. Are
The
we-
worst of the worst.
The worst. So like, if an earthquake were to hit you, say you're at like the heart of earthquakes, and an earthquake were to hit you at a level 10,
Yeah. Right.
there it's still like B material, C material for me. If I'm living by like Japan and there's a tsunami coming at its fullest pen, we're done. We're done.
Yeah. Because
Yeah,
a tsunami
that's true,
could wipe out an entire city.
That's true. That's actually
Right?
true.
Like out of 10, it's
Yeah.
done.
Okay. All right. Yeah. The consensus is S. And that finally brings us to the final natural disaster, and that is it's the fucking Earth itself. It is a volcano.
Yeah, the Earth itself coming for us.
Bruh, like this,
That's like top.
this
That's
is
the
S
number
as
one.
fuck.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's S because it's cool. It's S because it insta-kills anybody who goes near it. It's like video games where it's like, oh, that thing just touched me. Why did I die? It's because it's a
Mhm.
volcano. And also, volcanoes
Almost-
have caused extinction level events on the Earth in
Yep.
the past. So even though the most recent extinction level event was a meteorite, it wasn't a volcano. I think like two before then were volcanoes. A volcano erupted that was so large that its eruption just sent an ash cloud over the entire Earth and created a nuclear winter, a natural nuclear winter, and it killed off like 95% of all life on Earth. So it's like
Yep.
volcanoes, out of all of these, are the one that's global. I feel like it is the global dude. Yeah.
Yeah. Because there's like 4 or 5 of the big volcanoes are like world-ending volcanoes, right? Like the one in
Yeah, we're just hoping they don't go off.
Yellowstone,
Papa bless.
and
Yeah.
the
Yellowstone.
Iceland one, and
Oh, I didn't even know about Iceland. Yeah. I don't
yeah,
know
well,
if
the
that-
Iceland one went off about 5 years ago, if you remember. It was pretty like
but that's the one
it
I
affected
remember.
Europe
I
anyway.
thought that was like somewhere in Europe. Ah.
Iceland?
No. I don't think
I
Iceland's in Europe. I thought the volcano was in Europe somewhere. But yeah, that was
Oh.
nice.
No,
Yeah.
no, it affected Europe. But I mean, Iceland is like pseudo-Europe,
Right, yeah, it's close enough.
right? Yeah. But yeah, the cloud was like kept drifting towards Europe all the time. Yeah.
Guys, what
Yeah.
about a meteor shower on this thing? They need to throw a meteor shower on here.
Yeah. Well, I guess when people say natural disasters
It's
like
so what? Like throw that on.
produced by the Earth versus like outside alien influences like a meteorite. But that honestly, that should be one. A meteorite isn't like intended for us. Oh no, what's happening? Everyone's frozen. Hello. Copy. Hello. You guys read. Everybody, are you there? Hello. Come in. Do you copy? Check, check, 1 2 1 2. Check, check. Check, check, check. Hello, hello. Hello. Buongiorno. People! Oh no. You have frozen. Hello.